Vice President Joe Biden has staged a Super Tuesday comeback overnight.
He won at least 9 states on a dramatic night, which saw the contest turn into a 2-horse race between him and Bernie Sanders.
Well, Mr. Sanders is on course to win California, whose 415 delegates represent the largest haul in the nominating contest.
But Mr. Biden swept to wins in Texas, Alabama, Arkansas, Massachusetts, Minnesota, North Carolina, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and Virginia.
Any more?
No. Bernie Sanders, though, won Colorado, Vermont, Utah, and, as we said, on track to take the big prize of California.
Well, our US correspondent Greg Milam reports now.
They're calling this Joe.
Later today to discuss solutions or potential solutions to the surging migrant crisis at the Turkey-Greece border.
At least 20,000 migrants are already in camps on the island of Lesbos, and more are arriving daily.
Let's turn to our Europe correspondent, Adam Parsons, who's in Lesbos for us today. Adam, welcome to you. And the EU have a stake in this, don't they? Because it's not just a Greek problem. The migrants who succeed in getting to Greece will look to move further inland into Europe.
Well, that is exactly right, and that is the plan of many of the migrants who arrive here in Lesbos is not to stay on this island. Frankly, they don't want to do that. They particularly don't want to go to the Moria camp, which is the reception camp for migrants and is frankly one of the most unpleasant places you can find in the world. What they want to do is claim asylum here and then move up through Europe. But at the moment, that is not happening, and migrants who have been arriving here in the past couple of days have not been allowed to go to that Moria reception centre. Instead, they're there. This is the heart of the port in Lesbos. These people have been stopped from claiming asylum. They've been kept here. There's some on the north of the island who've been sleeping on the beach. And while we can't see it from here, we've been asked not to show it to you, there is a naval ship just on the other side of this port. And our understanding is that these migrants will not be allowed to remain in Lesbos and instead will be put on the naval ship and taken off to Athens, where they will be then taken to a separate detention centre. Now, that process hasn't started yet, but clearly they are not being allowed to leave that area. The naval ship is here. It is absolutely apparent that either today or at some point they are going to be moved off this island. And this is another ripple in the tension that is emanating from the Turkish-Greek border, where we know that those fleeing the war in Syria have come through Turkey and have been encouraged to try to get into Greece. Now, those tensions today spilled over again on that border. Tear gas fired by the Greek authorities, ongoing scuffles and conflicts between Greek border troops and those who are trying to get from Turkey into Greece. In other events here, there is a ferry moored in the harbour that normally would be taking people from Lesbos back to Turkey, those who have failed with their asylum applications. At the moment, we think that ferry won't be taking anybody back because Turkey won't be accepting them. And there are still those refugees on this island who believe, probably erroneously, that if they buy a ticket for a ferry, even if they have insufficient documentation, that they will be allowed to dock in Athens, leave that ferry and then start a journey through Europe. It has to be fair that here in Lesbos there are a lot of people who are titanically fed up of this. They've had 5 years of, in total, hundreds of thousands of migrants going through this island. It has hugely affected the economy here. And so when I talk about tensions, there are equally those between the residents here and the migrants, and that again has spilled over in recent days into attacks between the two, conflicts between riot police and migrants, and also, it would be fair to say, sporadic violence against charities and non-government organisations and indeed on journalists. The noise you can hear behind me, I have to say, is a football match going on between refugees, or those seeking refugee status, from all different countries going on in that pain. The buses you can see behind them, those are the places where people have been sleeping for the past couple of nights. To listen to that, you would think this is a group of pretty happy, pretty vibrant, friendly people. In fact, these are several hundred people facing a very uncertain future and who have found themselves caught right in the middle of a big geopolitical row.
Adam, thanks very much.
The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge are visiting a mental health